In this video, we'll be taking a look at all today's NCAAF matchups, and I'll break them all down with free winning picks so you can bet smarter and win bigger. But first, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get our picks the second they drop, because when the lines move, the early birds cash in. And if you want the full Winning Sport Picks experience, head over to wspicks.com and check out our VIP packages, or grab a free consultation with one of our professional sports consultants for the sharpest edge you'll find anywhere. That's where the real plays live. We are your bookmaker's worst nightmare. These are the games we're hammering, the ones the books can't afford you to bet. This is Winning Sport Picks. The free picks are about to drop, and they're coming in hot. We start with Ohio taking on Buffalo, with Ohio laying 6 on the road and Buffalo catching 7 depending on the book. This is the classic MAC showdown where perception and reality drift far apart. The market leans on Ohio's statistical profile, but their road play never matches the expectation the spread implies. Buffalo at home has been at their best in these muddy, low-total environments because games slow to a crawl, possessions shrink, and explosive plays disappear. The 44.5 total tells you everything. Books expect a grind. That favors the dog every time because a game projected this tight rarely produces separation. Ohio's offense is fine when they're comfortable, but road pressure shrinks their efficiency windows, and Buffalo's defensive tempo control always pushes better teams into mistakes. The uglier it gets, the more it drags inside the number. I like Buffalo +7 with the over 44.5, quietly live if both teams are forced into short field scoring late. Next, we head into the Egg Bowl with Ole Miss laying 7 and Mississippi State catching 7 at home, and rivalry energy always knocks spreads off their axis. Ole Miss is the more explosive team, but explosiveness doesn't translate as cleanly on the road, especially against a defense that treats this matchup like their season. Mississippi State at +7 becomes automatically interesting because their physicality rises in this spot, and Ole Miss, as dynamic as they are, has long stretches where pace works against them. This total sitting around 62.5 signals that books expect scoring swings, but rivalry tempo never follows projections. Games like this tilt toward momentum pockets, emotional surges, and long drives that break structure. Mississippi State can easily hang inside a full touchdown, especially late when intensity compresses margins. I like Mississippi State +7 and the over 62.5 for a rivalry shootout that stays competitive. Iowa versus Nebraska gives us one of those classic Big Ten totals that makes you laugh when you see the number 39 to 39.5. And when totals get that low, spreads get inflated. Iowa laying 6 becomes a math problem, not a football one, because you simply don't have enough possessions in this kind of game to justify separation. Nebraska catching 6.5 becomes the automatically correct side because every field goal, every turnover, every stalled drive swings value massively toward the dog. Iowa plays the same script every week: run, punt, field position, and defense. Nebraska can match that in games where both teams want to shrink the clock. The underdog holds the advantage through variance alone. This one screams Nebraska +6.5 and under 39.5 as the only logical angles. Kent State against Northern Illinois gives us another MAC grinder with Kent State catching 5 and NIU laying 5 at home. These matchups are about who can avoid the catastrophic mistake, not who is better on paper. NIU has been priced as a stronger team, but their drive-to-drive inconsistency makes laying more than a field goal dangerous. Kent State as a road dog has quietly covered spreads like this all season because they drag opponents into chaotic, low-scoring sequences where margins freeze. With the total at 45 to 45.5, one stalled quarter can reshape the entire game script. Kent State +5 holds all the value here, and I lean under 45.5 as both defenses dictate tempo. Utah versus Kansas gives us a rare non-conference flavor matchup with Utah laying 10 and Kansas catching 10 at home. Utah's physicality is a problem for almost anyone, and Kansas tends to fade against teams that win the line of scrimmage all 4 quarters. Kansas can score early. Scripted drives and home energy will do that, but they rarely sustain production once Utah starts controlling tempo. The total around 60 to 60.5 tells us books expect trading scores early, but Utah pulls games into their world late, killing pace and squeezing out clean possessions. Utah -10 becomes the better long-term angle because their strength compounds over time, and under 60.5 makes more sense when Kansas inevitably hits offensive lulls. Air Force versus Colorado State gives us a pure contrast of identities, with Air Force laying 2.5 and Colorado State catching the same number at home. Air Force's style works beautifully when they lead, but when they get punched early, their comeback profile collapses. Colorado State +2.5 has become a sharp side because their defensive front disrupts option timing better than most, and once Air Force gets off schedule, their drives shrink into punts. The total around 46 to 46.5 sits right in the zone, where one stalled half forces the under and tightens the spread simultaneously. Colorado State +2.5 with under 46.5 makes sense as the superior tempo-based read. Georgia Tech takes on Georgia, and the Dogs enter this rivalry laying 14 while Tech catches 14 at home. Georgia is clearly superior, but rivalry inflation always pushes spreads higher than the matchup deserves. Georgia Tech +14 becomes attractive simply because their offense is capable of manufactured scoring even against elite defenses. When totals climb into the high 50s, here at 59 to 59.5, large spreads become inherently unstable. Georgia will likely control the game, but Tech will find enough counterpunches to keep it inside 2 touchdowns. I like Georgia Tech +14 with the over 59.5 for a rivalry game that has late offensive life. San Diego State versus New Mexico closes the slate with SDSU laying 1 and New Mexico catching 1 at home. When spreads drop into pick'em territory, especially with low totals like 41.5, variance swings violently toward the home dog. San Diego State has struggled all season generating separation and sustaining drives long enough to protect small leads. New Mexico +1 becomes the better side because they match SDSU's physicality and play with significantly more energy at home. In a low total knife fight, every possession turns into a coin flip. I like New Mexico +1 and under 41.5 as the cleaner rid. Now listen to me, those are the free picks, but the one game I am unloading on tonight, the game that's going to crush your bookie's soul, that's the VIP play of the day at WSPicks.com. This is the nuke, the hammer, the max bet, the one play I've circled, the game that will bury your bookmaker 6 feet under. When it hits, and it will, your bookie is going to need a doctor, a lawyer, and maybe even a priest. If you want to ride with me on the biggest bet of the day, get to WSPicks.com right now. And now for the recap, we're rolling with Buffalo +7 and over 44.5, Mississippi State +7 and over 62.5, Nebraska +6.5 and under 39.5, Kent State +5 and under 45.5, Utah -10 and under 60.5, Colorado State +2.5 and under 46.5, Georgia Tech +14 and over 59.5, and New Mexico +1 with under 41.5. This is Winning Sport Picks, where we don't just bet, we bury bookmakers. Smash that subscribe button, drop your favorite plays in the comments, and hammer that like button like you're hammering your bookie into the dirt. We're cashing, we're dominating, and tonight we're dancing on the grave of your bookmaker. Let's go!